Cliff Kingsbury gets himself another weapon. This time it is with Jaylin Lane, wide receiver out of Virginia Tech. That's the Commanders pick with the number 128th overall selection of the 2025 NFL Draft. You're watching the Commanders Report. I'm Joey Peterson, the fill-in host of today's show, but happy to be with you nonetheless. We're going to break down this selection, talk a whole other thing surrounding the Commanders draft so far and what to look for in the future. Before that, make sure you guys subscribe today. For the best coverage of the 2025 NFL Draft, you've got it right here. We're going to have you covered through the rest of the day. We're going to have you covered on UDFAs tomorrow. Everything you could want, everything you could need, you found it. Your one-stop shop is right here on the Commanders Report. So let's make this thing Facebook official. Hit that subscribe button. Jaylin Lane, if you hadn't heard of him, well, now you know. Age 22, he's a redshirt senior. He's on the smaller side. Let's just be nice about it. We'll round up to 5'10", in reality, 5'9" and 3/4, 191 pounds soaking wet. The stats weren't anything to absolutely blow you away in 2024. 38 receptions, 466 yards, 2 touchdowns, 66 yards at his longest, which is impressive. Let's talk a little bit more about the prospect. His vertical slot ability with his speed, there's so much flash after the catch, okay, because of how fast a receiver this guy truly is. He also has a ton of added value on both kick and punt returns, so I kind of have a feeling it's going to be him and Luke McCaffrey manning that part of this team's roster going into 2025. He's undersized. That's kind of the big shtick on him, and with play strength issues because of that lack of size. Also, the route running needs a little bit more work, which I don't want to say that worries me, but for a guy who kind of isn't the biggest guy, you kind of want those guys to be route technicians. I think if his career goes incredibly well, the high-end version of Jaylin Lane is like a Darius Slayton, which I think could be really useful. And I think that this team could use another really fast deep threat. You added Deebo Samuel in the offseason, which I think was a good addition. I'm not going to sit here, pound the table, and say it was the best addition, but you added Deebo Samuel in the offseason, and he's not going to be a deep threat speed-wise. So you kind of needed that in the wide receiver room, right? You need Jaden Daniels to have some more go-to targets, to have some more targets that could be looked at as big threats. And Jaylin Lane, if he gets, the route running, I don't want to say figured out because he's a fine route runner. If he gets a little bit more precise in his technique, I think he could really pan out. And I think he could really be a go-to target for a guy like Jaden Daniels for the next years to come. Because Terry McLaurin, I hope he gets extended. Love him. Think he's the most underrated receiver in the game, but he's not going to be on this team forever. Deebo Samuel, excited about what he could bring, but he's an aging wide receiver as well. This team, the wide receiver core, needs to get a little bit younger. Jaylin Lane is going to help them do that. Don't hold back. Let me know in the comment section what you would grade this pick. Give it an A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comment section down below. Be honest and get in those comments. The Athletic's Dane Brugler had this to say about Jaylin Lane. He started by saying, Lane is missing the well-rounded effectiveness that teams want in a starter, but his balance and acceleration, especially with the ball in his hands, will give him a chance to impress an NFL coaching staff in comp. His value as a punt returner should boost his chances of securing a roster spot. And I think that is my whole thing with Jaylin Lane is this kind of seems like a match made in heaven with Cliff Kingsbury. We all know how much Cliff kind of likes to get this offense rolling by little quick screens, right? Little bubble screens. Jaylin Lane excels and is at his best when he gets the ball in his hands quicker. When he has time and space to make plays. And so that's why him being an addition to this offense, run by Cliff Kingsbury, run by Jaden Daniels in a sense, I think it's a match made in heaven. I think it's just another toolsy gadget guy for a guy like Cliff Kingsbury to have a ton of fun with. And no, the statistics weren't there. You'd like to see the production be a little bit higher. But I also will add, Virginia Tech kind of struggled a little bit this past year. Like, it's not like they had this unbelievable team that was just putting out production right and left. No, they didn't have that. So Jaylin Lane did with what he could. Could it have been a little bit better? 2 touchdowns? Yeah, 466 yards. Yeah, you want a little bit more than that. But, like, I think there's still a chance that Cliff Kingsbury can get something out of Jaylin Lane that Virginia Tech wasn't able to. Let's talk a little bit more about the draft before we get on out of here. There's not much left after this selection. 2 more picks, unless a trade happens, and it could have been happening during my filming of this video. I hope not. Josh Conerly Jr. was the first-round selection, offensive tackle out of Oregon. Trey Amos, second-round selection, pick number 61. I think that's the best pick for Washington so far. I think the value of that player at the spot where you got him is incredibly impressive. And then Jaylin Lane at wide receiver in round 4. You have a round 6 selection at pick number 205, so you got to wait about 80 selections till the next one. And then your lone 7th-round pick is at number 245, and then that is it. That's all it's going to be. 2 more selections, unless you make some trades, which, knowing Adam Peters, wouldn't be surprised if he gets on the phones and makes a couple moves. But so far, this team has gone offense twice, defense once. I'd expect them to address edge rusher or defensive line in the 6th round. Now, I will say, there's not going to be that much talent there in the 6th round, and that's kind of the price you have to pay when you deal your 5th and you deal your 3rd rounder. You kind of miss out on a lot of value there, but still, I just don't see how that can be something that this team doesn't address in the draft. I really, really want that to be addressed. Okay, I'm just going to flat out say that plainly, straight up with you. I want them to go edge rusher. I love the addition at corner. Jaylin Lane's a fine addition at wide receiver. Josh Conerly's a great addition at offensive tackle. Maybe look at safety, but I think defense is going to be the next 2 selections. That's my prediction. Okay, you let me know in the comment section down below. What positions do you think Washington is going to go for over these next 2 rounds, over their last 2 selections? Get down there. Let me know. Also, while you're already down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got you covered right here at the Commanders Report for every single pick, every single round, and for the entirety of this offseason. It's coming up very, very shortly. Lock us in. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.